Back on TYT Sports, and I am in New York, and I don't know where I put my Jason. Where is my well, he's back in LA. I left him there. Unfortunately, because he wanted to talk about this subject more than I did, but I had to pull some teeth and managed to get myself here because Jason was trying his best to get involved in this conversation. It is the big one we're going to have in terms of the Premier League. Who is going to be the Premier League Player of the Year? Now, there's many different candidates. We'll also talk about the Young Player of the Year as well, because that's another one we have to discuss. But this is a shortlist provided by Bleacher Report, and they narrowed it down to their 6 that they believe could be in the running for this position. Now, what is surprising straight away is there's only one player in this list from the big team. So if you're looking on your screens here, ranked 1 up to 6, you have Mahrez, Jamie Vardy, Kane, Payet, Ozil, and Alderweireld. Now, the thing about this is, which I will disclose straight away, is how Harry Kane is not on this list. I don't care if he is young and will be on the Young Player of the Year list. He needs to be on here. Harry Kane, top goal scorer for Tottenham at the moment. One of the main reasons why they're flying so high in the Premier League. I think 21 goals just showcases his talent. Yes, he had a slow start, which many people have used to their excuse to say that Harry Kane doesn't deserve his position, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. If Tottenham are top of the Premier League or second, it's a successful season, and Harry Kane is one of the main reasons that they've been doing that. He's a focal point of their attack. I think he's going to be huge for England in the Euros as well. And for me, he comes in second out of this list. Now, before I get to the reason why I think Mahrez should be number 1, Vardy definitely deserves an honourable mention to come in at third, I would imagine, because he has been just as significant as Mahrez, but there's been a few things in there that I think has assisted in making Mahrez my go-to player for Leicester City. Now, Jamie Vardy could be, I would say, attributed to their success at the start of the season and how they picked up so much form with his consistent game-by-game goals when he broke Ruud van Nistelrooy's record. But he kind of went off a little bit, I would say, in the middle between Christmas, and then managed to bounce back as of recent, but still isn't hitting the same amount of goals that he scored at the start. He's still useful, by the way, but one of the reasons he is useful now is because Mahrez is allowing him to take different parts of the game kind of by the scruff of the neck, utilising his runs to pick up space, playing balls in behind that Vardy can chase and cause problems. And that's where it comes from. It comes from Mahrez's creativity, from his execution, from his flair. And for me, he's the best player in the Premier League this season. I think that he's my vote for Premier League Player of the Year. I think he should be even the PFA's vote because he's been a torment to every single team he's played against. His composure in chaotic situations is just second to none, and I think that he deserves the Player of the Year this year for me. That's just my opinion. By the end of the season, by the way, this might change, because if Tottenham finish top of the league and win the Premier League through Harry Kane's goal-scoring form, you have to consider Spurs. You have to consider them and him is to be the Player of the Year, because someone who leads their team like a Tottenham to the title has to be considered to be Player of the Year. But before we go through, Ozil was phenomenal for Arsenal when they were on the rise. But again, when they go through adversity, I think he falls by the wayside. I think he's very similar to the Arsenal mentality, where they fall away and don't seem to hit the same heights. And the players suffer from that. You need a player like a Mahrez to drag you out of adverse situations and push you over the line in harder games. And I think that Mahrez does that better than any player for any team in the Premier League this season. Kante is another one. It's unbelievable how many Leicester players should be considered. Kante and Drinkwater, I think, are in the same boat. They both do the dirty work. They both chase the ball. They both hunt, close space, make it difficult for teams to score against Leicester. So he definitely deserves a lot of credit. And the last person I'm going to talk about on this list, I think Alderweireld deserves a mention as well for his debut season as one of the best defenders in the league. But it has to be Payet, because West Ham are in an unfamiliar position just as well as Leicester or Tottenham are. But West Ham have been, I would say, rejuvenated with Slaven Bilic, and one of the main reasons is Dimitri Payet. His free kicking, goal-scoring ability, his talent. Another player that has to be looked at as a big player to play in the Euros. Payet and Kante got deserved call-ups into the French national team, so France are looking good with the best Premier League players from this season in their squad. And it's encouraging to see players from smaller teams get into these positions and be considered to be the best, but it does advocate the quality drop in the Premier League this season. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm as big a Premier League fanboy as anyone else out there, but I know that the Premier League standard hasn't been as big, hence why you don't see Hazard in this list, hence why De Bruyne isn't on this list, even probably because he was injured. I think he would have made a good claim for it if he wasn't injured. So that's the players, that's the shortlist, I think, and what I think it will break down for in the Player of the Year. Young Player of the Year, we'll throw this up here. This is what Bleacher Report imagine the Young Player of the Year rankings will look like. Jack Butland of Stoke, phenomenal season in between the sticks. Anthony Martial, of course, one kind of small consolation for Manchester United season is his performances. Lukaku, Dyer, Dele Alli and Harry Kane. Now, again, I think Harry Kane has to be considered for the Player of the Year, so I think Dele Alli, for me, will be the Young Player of the Year. I think he, again, along with Harry Kane, one of the main reasons they're so dominant at home and they're a hard team to break down. Very instrumental has Dele Alli been. Very mature for how young he is, and he, as well as Harry Kane, could be vital for England in the Euros. But I want to know what you think. Is there anyone there I missed out on this list? Do you think there's a person who could come from the back of the pack and make a run for Player of the Year this season? Make sure to hit me in the comment section below. Thanks for bearing with me in our New York YouTube space setup. As I said, I'm traveling, but I will be back in the studio next week with Jason. Jason, wipe away those tears. Plenty more Premier League to talk about in the near future. Hit that subscribe button and comment below.